Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Thursday vlog. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I'm really happy to bring you two brand new stamp sets from hot off the press. The first one is the Flutterby Butterfly stamp set, and the second one is the Fairy stamp set. So let's get right to it and I'll show you some projects. Okay, this one was done with the Flutterby Butterfly, and as you can see, it's got this really beautiful butterfly circle with these adorable little flowers. Let me get in a little closer here so you can see that. And it's got these different sizes of butterflies, which I went ahead and cut out of white cardstock, put a little foam tape behind those to give them a little dimension. And then I also used, around my die cut mats, I went ahead and used a little shading with some blue, sort of this, I think it's pool blue from the cat eye ink pads. So also colored the butterflies with Spectrum Noir ink pens, and I've got turquoise, pinks, and greens there. So I think this is a really versatile set. It's got two greetings: let your dreams take flight and kindness matters, which is very true. So let's take a look at the second one, the Fairy set. Here we go. And I have a couple of techniques to show you on this one. This is a label gatefold die cut card that Debbie made, and she did some embossing on this, which I think is really beautiful. She used a couple of different techniques. The first is she stamped the image with Versamark, and then used gold embossing powder and then heat embossed that image, which I have done here on white cardstock. And then she went over this sort of swirly image with some Cosmic Shimmers Specialist acrylic glue. So I'm going to show you how she did that, and then she added a little extra sparkle to it. So I love the fine tip on this glue, and what I'm going to do is just start at one place, add a thin line. You don't have to get every little spot. I'll show you how to take care of that. It's more important that it's a thin line as opposed to a thick line. Okay, so let me get a little closer and show you how that worked out. And then I used a paper clip, okay? And what I did with the paper clip is I went ahead and went over that glue line, spreading this out. And that just sort of fills in all the areas that you missed. Just going around that in a very simple way. There we go. And then stopping where you get to the part of the fairy. So we don't want to get any glue on the actual fairy, just her little swirls. Okay. And you do have to move somewhat quickly with this particular glue because it dries, faster than most craft glues. It's one of the things I love about it. So the thinner the glue is applied, the faster it's going to dry, of course. So I just want to move along. So I'm just going to do it in sections so that it doesn't dry too fast. Because I'm afraid if I did the whole thing, then my glue would be too dry. Okay, so there we go. So I'm just going to do this part of it. And she used Cosmic Shimmer Sparkle Shaker. And the Sparkle Shaker is a really fine glitter. So it's not embossing powder. It doesn't activate with water. So you do need to use it with an adhesive like glue. So I'm going to take a little piece of extra cardstock and put it here. And I'm going to do a little shake in here. Make sure my glue is nice and covered. Tap off that excess. Maybe even do a little blowing on there. There we go. There you go. And you can see how it covers really beautifully. You can just take a little paintbrush and take that extra little bit off of there. So it gives it an extra little bit of shine, a different color, and some dimension. So then the rest of this that I just tapped off here, I can go ahead and add that back into my shimmer shaker so I don't waste a drop. All right, she also used, she went ahead and stamped the butterflies and the star images using the pinks from the Pink Cat Eye ink pad set, and then she used clear embossing powder to sprinkle over that while the ink was still wet, and then she heat embossed that. So as you can see, those have got a little bit of a shimmer as well, a little shine. All right, so the next technique I'm going to show you is an inking technique. Let me pull out a little bit on this card. All right, so I did this technique also using the Fairy stamp set, and this particular technique used a little masking. So I went ahead and just used a little tape. You could use washi tape, stencil tape, to put a 2.5-inch circle, die cut circle, on my card. And then I'm going to use my craft sheet for this because this is going to get messy. All right, so then what I did with this is I went ahead and took my set of purple Cat Eye ink pads, and I started out with, I'm going to use 2 shades of purple, and I started out with one that's a little bit more of a plum, and I started at the bottom and applied some color in circular motions because I don't want to get the shape of my stylus and pad. This particular tool has been around for years and years and years, and it's still one of my favorites. I love how you can just snap on the applicator, one hand, snap it back. Doesn't fall off when I'm really rubbing in my ink. Tried and true. All right, so I want to go up about 1.5 inches, even 2 inches, because the next part is I'm going to take a piece of torn paper, okay, just a piece of torn cardstock, and I'm going to overlap that right about there. And then I'm going to go to the darker purple, and overlapping that so that it's just blending right into the first color. And I don't want them to be too stripy. I don't want them to be the stripes to be too even across, so I'm going to be a little uneven on one side. Okay, and then the next one I'm going to do a blue color. I can put my purples away using the blue set. This one is called Pool. And I'm just going to go ahead and try to blend that right into the first, or rather the second color of purple. I'm overlapping that. As you can see, the first one's got a really prominent torn edge, and then the second one, not as much. So I can take that same piece and I can put that at a different angle. And I'm just going to blend right into that purple. There we go. Blending in there, and then I'm going to go right into my circle as well. Okay, and that's taped down, so that's pretty secure. Okay, so I'm done with my blue. Now I'm going to go do some greens. So I have the yellow and green combination ink pad. And for this one, I'm not going to use any torn paper. I'm just going to blend that right in with the blue. Okay, now I'm back to blue again. Oops. Just keeping my fingers right there on that circle, making sure I don't get any ink on the underside. Go over here to this side. I'm going to get that blue all the way around around my circle. And make sure I've blended that really well with that green, going over that. All right, so the last part, I'm going to go back to my purple. And I'm going to do a little dark first. And then I'm switching back to, put these in here, the lighter purple, to blend those together with the blue. Okay, it takes a bit of scrubbing, but you can see how those are blending together. All right, and then when I was done with this part, I just went over, this is the darker purple, I went over the edge there, just to give that a little profound edge, and the bottom as well. There we go. Then the last part is I'm going to take this mask off, all right, and then I've got some yellow, okay, from the green-yellow combination ink pad. Oops. There we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of yellow on my moon. And I'm just going out to the edge a little bit, like so. All right, there you have it. So that's how you create the background. And then for the actual, oops, there we go. For the actual fairy image, I just used a nice deep black. I used black Memento ink, and I used my stamping tool so that I could make sure that I was getting a nice, really profound black there. Stamped it a few times right here, added the greeting, used the blue, like a darker shade of blue from the ink pad set to make the bubbles and the stars, cut out a few butterflies and colored those using the same technique here, just a little blue on the center, little purple on the outside, and then I foam taped those to give those a little dimension, and added some little blue star sparklets as well. So a really fun and easy card to put together relatively quickly to get a background that is really unique. So thanks for joining me today. Check out the money saver that we have on both of these brand new stamp sets, the Flutter by Butterfly stamp set and the Fairy stamp set. And I'll see you again next week.